Welcome to episode 174 of the Forward from 50 podcast, where we interview people over 50 who are pursuing new direction for their lives. It's an opportunity for men and women to tell their stories, their way, and in their own words. I'm Greg Gerber, the founder of Forward from 50, and your host for today's show. My guest today is Marianne Crooch. She is a former IT professional turned calm coach who helps women move from chaos to calm without needing a mountain retreat, yoga mat, or a monk. After years of juggling a high-pressure career, raising 5 children, and constantly saying yes to everyone around her, Marianne realized the stress was taking a serious toll on her health and happiness. Today, she teaches women how to create moments of peace in everyday life through small, practical changes that can make a huge difference over time. In this episode, Marianne shares how she transformed her own life after years of burnout, why she believes calm is something we can all create in just a few minutes each day. Here are a few takeaways from today's conversation. First, Marianne explains why women often feel trapped in a non-stop cycle of overcommitment, stress, and exhaustion. Second, she talks about how short daily pauses can be more effective than waiting for a vacation or long weekend to recharge. Third, Marianne shares how yoga, meditation, and mindfulness helped her manage chronic pain, fibromyalgia, and the intense stress of working in the IT world. Finally, she explains why retirement is not the end goal for fulfillment and why purpose, contribution, and meaningful activity still matter after turning 50. To tell us more about her story, please welcome Marianne Crooch to the show. Thanks for joining me today, Marianne. I really appreciate it. I understand you are the Calm Coach. How did you get that title?
It's a very long story. It's been a process. I started trying to find some calm and peace in my life, and it went from learning yoga and meditation and mindfulness. It was just a process. It was trying to figure out how to incorporate things into my life that would help me with my type A IT job, 5 kids, the whole 9 yards, try to incorporate that. And then I was so passionate about how all of this made me feel. I wanted to communicate that. And so I became the Calm Coach.
Oh, I would imagine that you would need to develop those skills if you had 5 kids, especially 3 boys. Yes.
Boys are different than girls, and you have to adjust how you're parenting based on
That's right.
the gender. Yeah.
Many people know that I am a dad of daughters only. So I had 3 daughters and then technically a bunch of granddaughters before the first boy arrived. And when the first boy got to be 2 years old, I'm like, what is this creature? He climbs on everything and runs all over the place. The opposite of calm. Oh,
yes.
Cool. So you help people shift from chaos to calm. Is this a problem for a lot of people?
Yes, it is. I've encountered hundreds of women who feel the need to always be on, to be a mom, to be a worker bee at their job, to volunteer for many things. I was one of those where I was an overachiever and I had to say yes. Anybody asked me to volunteer for anything, I had my hand up. So we tend to overdo, trying to please everybody, and yet we never find any time to spend on ourselves, to take a break. And they're just in this cycle. And then what happens is they go, which I did. And then all of a sudden you hit hard. You get sick. You can't seem to recover. You feel depressed, or maybe you just start to exhibit all these health issues. And then you rest because you're forced to. And then you go back to your schedule. And then that's the cycle.
Not only do you go back to your schedule, but you go back to your schedule and a ton of work that was left that needs to be done. So now you're playing catch up again, and it isn't long before you're back in the same cycle.
That is correct. It's kind of like going on vacation. You work doubly hard before you go on vacation, and then you go on vacation, you come back, and then you work doubly hard to still try to play catch.
That's exactly right. And it's really hard for women because they are expected to maintain the home, but they're also expected to have a job And so after working all day, they come home, take care of the house and the kids. And then at night, the husband shows up and says, hey, what are you going to do for me? So it's hard to maintain that cycle for long. And your body does keep the score. So you help people alter this reality by taking time for themselves. But we're not talking long periods of time, right? We're talking short snippets.
Yes. We've been taught, like, if we need to relax, we need to take all day or go on a vacation or a very long weekend. And I learned, actually, a wonderful person told me this in my 30s, and I didn't believe her, that she said, Marianne, you need to learn to take time every day to create that calm or that vacation idyllic feeling so that you don't get burned out. And I found, and maybe this resonates with everybody out there, is you work really hard and then you go and leave on vacation. And the first few days, you're really trying to relax. You're trying to get your mind off back home with all the things that you still need to do. So then finally, maybe the third or fourth day, you finally relax. Your mind is relaxed. And then you have a couple days during your vacation that you feel really good and energized. You're enjoying, you're having fun. And then a couple days before you go home, you're like, no, I don't want to go home. And I got this and I got this. And then the whole time, those last couple days, you're not enjoying yourself. So maybe you enjoyed 3 days out of your week-long vacation. I don't know if that resonates with anybody out there.
That's exactly right. I remember my grandmother telling me that she had a nervous breakdown that put her in the hospital when she was 21 years old. And her doctor said, Betty, you have got to figure out a way to calm your mind and to let go of the anxieties that you are carrying with you. And he encouraged her to take up gardening or sewing, and she did both and spent time every day in her garden, except in the winters in Wisconsin, or every day sewing a little bit, just to give her mind something else to focus on.
Yes. And did she?
She did, yes. So she was an absolutely amazing gardener and turned out to be one of the best sewers. She made quilts for every one of her grandkids and every one of her children. It was just an amazingly talented woman because she took the time to settle down, slow down, relax. Yeah.
And that is the key. And it's really hard. And it doesn't take that much time. 5 minutes a day. Maybe you start out small and you sit and read a book. If you really enjoy sitting and reading a book, I hear it all the time. I just don't have time to read. I just don't have time to read. Take 5 minutes somewhere in your day. Or maybe it's just sitting up quiet with your cup of coffee or tea. How many times we're drinking our coffee as we're running around trying to get ready in the morning to go to work?
Exactly. We make time for what's important. Yep.
Yeah, so take the time. And then I said I teach yoga, I teach meditation and mindfulness and other tools. But you don't even have to start there. Just start simple. Find something that you really are passionate about and that you miss doing because you're so busy, and take that time. 5 minutes. Easy.
I like that your website says that you help women to sprinkle calm into real life without a mountain, mat, or a monk.
Yeah. And then many times people would always say, that's what I need. I need to calm. I need an hour of yoga. You don't need an hour. You don't need enough. You can do a lot of these things within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then it resets and reboots you. But it's really hard now to really convince people that 5 minutes will do. But if you do it consistently every day, it adds up.
Becomes part of your routine.
Yeah.
I understand you were always sick because you were running so much and trying to do too many things at once.
Yes, I was always sick. I picked up everything from stomach bug to colds to the flu, always feeling run down and tired. I also have a condition called fibromyalgia, which was so bad, and I was always in pain all the time. And for those who don't know fibromyalgia, you're in pain every day, and it becomes part of you. People don't realize how much you're suffering while you're standing there and smiling, but it just becomes part of you. And all of that was exasperated by just always on the go, stress to the max. And it's not worth it. Really, it's not worth it.
I agree on that. So you had found a way to do the relaxation by embracing yoga first. And that's why you were saying a little while ago, you don't need a whole hour of it. What did you do to learn yoga? Did you just watch YouTube videos or did you get some instruction?
I'm dating myself. I don't even think YouTube was available back then. I'm like VHS tape type of gal. So somebody had said, oh, you need to do yoga. And all I could think of was those magazines where the women are in
pretzels.
Pretzels, yeah. And I am not a pretzel lady because with fibromyalgia, you tend to be stiff, very little flexibility. So I went and bought a VHS tape. And actually, Denise Austin, this is tape, and I put it in. And then every day I worked just a little bit, and I didn't want to overdo. And over after 2 months, I started to notice a difference with my body, and I was just a little bit like little calmer. And then it was just a process. Once I started to feel comfortable, I was like, oh, I can take a class in person, because I was petrified, because we always judge ourselves. We compare against the other person in the room. So I went to my first yoga class, and the instructor was wonderful. And she always preached no competition, no judgment, no destination, do what you can. So after a while, I was feeling so much better. That's when I said, I need to share this. I need to become a yoga instructor. And started the journey. Yes.
Because you were involved in IT, right? That was what you did for a career?
Yes, IT, where I sat all day and focused on the screen. I did.
And you did
software program. Yeah, software programming technology. And it was like on call. It was this very intense job.
Anytime I'm working with IT, it is immediately stressful. And if I have to do it for 30 minutes, like working on a website problem or whatever it is, I'm just out of my mind crazy at that point. It's neat that you were in that career field and then decided to retire early at 60 and do this full time. What prompted that decision?
Wow. What prompted that decision was work was getting very bad. The environment was getting very bad, which made my stress levels go up even higher. And no matter how much I did, there comes a point where the stress, even though you do these calming, if you're in a very toxic environment, it's really hard for that to override the toxic environment, no matter what you do. So between that and then one of my best friends dropped it at age 63. And it just transformed me, realizing that life is short and we need to live it to the fullest. And as humans, we're not meant to suffer. And if we can make the change, it's good for our mind and physical health and our soul. Our soul is screaming for, give me a break, give me some peace within. So that's what happened. And then it was probably less than a year later, I decided enough is enough and retired.
That's neat. You're right. To live life to the full does not mean we have to have something crammed into every minute of every day.
And that is correct.
Super. So you started this business. Did it require any investment on your part?
Actually, I had started the business after I became a yoga instructor. So I was teaching yoga classes. And then when I became certified in meditation, all the training was a huge investment. And I started teaching meditation classes. But it was once the pandemic hit, that's when I had to really invest a lot of money, because I had to purchased the software that I was using to provide online classes and manage payments and all that stuff. So I was blessed that I had the IT background, because I feel bad for the entrepreneurs that start up and have no idea of the technology. It's like, I hear it time and again in my business groups that they really struggle with the technology. But I was blessed. So the technology was the easy part. So that was a big expense.
As the technology improves, it gets more and more difficult and complicated for the people programming it to make it work the way they want it to or hope it would.
Yes.
So you started a new life then. And that's what I like about your story is you were doing this thing in IT, software and things like that. It was sucking the life out of you. And at one point you said, God got your attention by having your friend have a heart attack and die early on. And you realized that you were on that same path. So you pulled back and went in a completely different direction and started this thing to help women avoid getting overstressed themselves.
Yes. When I retired, I decided I would give myself 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we're down 2 weeks. And then I went full on trying to expand my business, refine.
You said you're a type A personality. So 2 weeks is about all we can have before we're out of our mind crazy with boredom and ready to get in and tackle some sort of project.
I feel like I'm a type of person that I will always work in some aspect, because my big thing is, my word is inspire. I need to be inspired and I need to inspire. That's my, I don't know if you call it a mission or purpose or a gift, but that is my thing. It's always guided me. So unless I'm inspired or inspiring someone, then it's not on my calendar, basically.
So what do you like most about being a yoga instructor and helping people to calm their lives?
I love to see the transformations in people. And I enjoy the fact that when they're done with yoga class, so I teach more of a gentle type of flow past the high-powered yoga classes, but I can see they always say, I feel so relaxed. I came into the class all stressed out about this and this, but when they leave, they feel at peace. Sometimes they say, I need to go home and take a nap, because they feel so. And that's what I like to see. I've also taught chair yoga for a very long time, which is mostly for older people who don't want to get up and down off the mat. And there was a period in my time where I was teaching people in their 80s. And for them, just the excitement of them being able to get in and out of the car all of a sudden because they've been doing chair yoga just touched my heart. That they were not losing their balance all the time. They learned how to balance. So the life-transforming results of yoga, even for older senior citizens, is amazing.
I like that you say that you don't need a retreat, you simply need a reset. So do you offer retreats for people?
I am actually working on my first one for 2027.
And how long will this retreat be? Like a week long?
No, I'm starting out with a 4 to 5 day retreat. People can get a taste of what it feels like. When I talk to a lot of people, they've never done a retreat before. So this is why I'd like to start small so they can see what it's like. Plus, they spend less money because it's not as long.
That's right. And if it's effective, you're just teaching them how to take those short pauses, right? So the retreats are over, they can go back into their lives and maybe realize that I'm getting to a point where I'm getting stressed. I need to take a 5-minute break and just calm myself. Maybe close the door and do some yoga or whatever the case might be. But that's something that you're going to be teaching at this retreat?
Yes.
And
We're
what?
going to be, it's basically a coaching program to say, okay, let's do an assessment, see where we're at, see what our life is like. What could change just a little bit. Well, what personally works for them to bring that calm into their day. Plus, we'll also do a little meditation, some mindfulness practices, maybe a little bit of gentle yoga, nothing major, just to allow them to get a taste of some of these modalities, is the word, not really exercises, but give them, open their eyes to see what's possible.
Does part of your training involve removing things from their lives? Because a lot of women, they just keep adding. Like you said before, you had a hard time to say no when people asked you to do things, whether it was school projects or community projects, whatever. So a lot of women just keep adding one thing onto another. But at some point, I would think that they would have to stop and start saying, I really enjoy this, but I can't do it anymore.
Yes, we work on that. And actually, I do a workshop about a month and a half, 2 months before Christmas, because as women, we tend to have this long list of things. Okay, I need to do Christmas cards. I need to bake 300 cookies. I need to do this. The amount of things that we're piling onto our already busy schedule. And that was me long ago. I was an overachiever, so I wanted to cross everything off that holiday list. But so we work with trying to figure out what stresses you the most. And I have a checklist. I go through every imaginable thing at the holiday time that they may do. And then I have them go through, okay, what's the one that stresses you out the most? What's the second most thing that stresses you the most? And then we'll have a conversation about, what if just for this year that you don't do it? And it's hard because we are creatures of habit and we want to continue doing what I can't not send out Christmas cards again this year. That's just wrong. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, if it stresses you out and takes you 8 hours because you're writing personal notes in every single one.
That's right. Exactly. So some little things have to go, even though they enjoy it, even though they're important. You have to say no to some things to say yes to better things.
Right.
Yeah, very good.
And I feel like I really can communicate that well because I've been there. I've experienced that. I was them. I was them.
Mm-hmm. Does your training take place online or is it in person?
It's online.
Online?
It's online. Yeah, it's virtual, yes.
So you just set up a camera and you demonstrate how to do the yoga and you can watch the other person do that as well and offer tips on things that they can do to make it easier?
Yep.
Okay.
So usually at the end of October, when people are starting to think Halloween hasn't even happened yet, but we have this to prepare because some people start the day after Halloween and they're ready to go even before Thanksgiving. So we make sure that we nip it in the bud early.
Okay. So I understand you offer a free audio experience to help people get in that groove. Tell us about this.
One of the hardest things that I found in working with people is that they have a lot of preconceived notions over meditation, that it's woo-woo, or it's not for them, or I can't sit still, or they think they're going to need to sit for 20 minutes, a half hour. So I created these meditations, which is just me guiding them for 3 minutes. If they can they can stand even, sit or stand and just listen to the meditation, step them through using their breath, step them through noticing tightness in their shoulders. So each one is a little different so they can figure out which one maybe is their favorite that really does work. But it's just 3 minutes just to kind of get them started thinking, because I can guarantee you after 3 minutes, they're going to be like, wow, that was pretty powerful. And they may want more of that.
So it's not even a reset. It's more like a pause.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
If you could roll the clock back, is there anything that you'd do differently with your life?
I wish I had listened to that one person in my 20s. And I probably would be a lot further along. Well, let's put it that way. I spent way too much time in my life stressing about things and doing things that I had no business doing. And that hurts. But you can never go back. And you don't want to have regrets. But if moving forward, if I can share with anyone, don't wait. Don't wait to retirement. Because even when you're retirement, because people have this preconceived notion that once you're retired, your life is, you're on easy street, no stress, no, you're not busy. No, that's not true. It's not true. We do have stressors every day. So we need to this is a lifelong thing.
It's funny that you mentioned that because a lot of people retire and they're going to recreate all day long. So they're going to play golf or go fishing and just do that. And that's going to become their new life. That's all. And after about 6 months of that, they're bored out of their minds. So what they do without having something constructive to do is they wind up doom scrolling through news reports and social media and watching television, which adds even more stress to their life. And so that's a very good point that you made.
Yeah. It's good to have a purpose when you're retired. Something. It doesn't need to consume all your time, but something that you feel that you're contributing to society. And that's your gift. That's your gift to the world. And that's even almost a calm activity. When you're feeling good or you're volunteering or you're helping children at a school, you're volunteering to teach them how to read or whatever that is, it does not need to bring in money.
Yeah.
It can just be something with a purpose that you have on your calendar every week.
I agree. How can people connect with you or get access to this free audio experience?
They can either follow me on social media, Marianne Crooch, on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Threads. They can also go to my website, mariannecrooch.com.
Okay.
Very simple. And they can reach out there. They can set up a discovery call. Let's have a free coffee chat to see how I can help you move forward with trying to schedule some fun stuff in your life every day.
That's a great idea. And
on my website is also where you can go in and download the free meditations.
Super. Thank you for sharing your story today, Marianne. I really appreciate it. I know it's important for women especially to calm their lives because the body keeps the score. And if they don't take the time to do that, to bring things under control, to release this tension, they'll pay for it in some way.
Yes. Yes, they do. Your body definitely holds on to all of that. And even if you're not noticing issues, it buries itself in the cells of your body, and it may not come out for a year, 2 years, 5 years, but it eventually comes out at some point because we can't fool our body at all.
That's right. We can try, but it doesn't work. So
yeah.
Thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. I really enjoyed being here.
Marianne Crooch reminds us that calm is not something reserved for vacations, retirement, or perfect circumstances. It is something we can intentionally create every day. What gives Marianne meaning and purpose after turning 50 is helping women to slow down long enough to reconnect with themselves before stress and burnout take a larger toll on their health, relationships, and happiness. After spending decades in a demanding IT career field, While raising 5 children, she now uses her experience to encourage others to stop glorifying exhaustion and start creating space for peace, balance, and purpose. I especially appreciated Marianne's reminder that calm does not require a complete life overhaul. Sometimes it simply starts with 5 quiet minutes, a deep breath, and giving yourself permission to say no. Marianne also finds great fulfillment in watching people transform physically and emotionally through gentle yoga, meditation, and mindfulness practices. Whether she is helping someone reduce stress, regain balance, or simply feel better in their own body, she sees her work as a way to inspire others to live healthier and more intentional lives. To learn more about Marianne, connect with her on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, or visit her website at mariannecrooch.com. You can also download her free 3-minute guided meditations directly from her website. That's all for this week's show. If you'd like to start living a more meaningful life, I encourage you to download our free guide to finding purpose, which is available at www.forwardfrom50.com. I'll have another inspirational interview on the next episode of the Forward from 50 podcast. Thanks for listening, and if you like this show, please consider leaving a review wherever you download the episodes.